hitting for at times 300,000 damage.
Now that's a lot of damage.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and Troys, the chaotic Mundi count heads. I can't believe it. I never thought before I would die I would see this day happen. The prophecy has spoken, my friends. CG has redeemed themselves. They're playing 4D chess while we are playing Connect 3. No, not Connect 4. Connect 3 Omega. Not the new one. The Omega V1 version 1 is officially high single fire damage. Wow! Oh my gosh, people, today, I know this video technically is supposed to be primarily focused on the brand new Wrecker Mercenary that we just got. We did a bunch of testing yesterday. And let's just say this, we're waiting for this new Bad Batch team to really pop, really give us a little pizzazz, a little sparkle. And while Wrecker is bringing some cool stuff that we're going to talk about, not just with the new Omega team, but also even Baylan Skoll, we're seeing interesting things going from zero to hero, and it has to go with this lovely character right here, hitting for at times 300,000 damage.
Now that's a lot of damage.
I'm excited to talk about this today, my friends, but not as excited about my sponsor today. Hey guys, real quick, I want to let you know that this video is being sponsored by me, myself, and Raid Shadow Legends. In case you guys did not know, I have a second channel where I've been playing Raid Shadow Legends. I've been putting out daily videos. If you use the link down below, I'll be able to get you some free champions as well that I'll talk about in a moment. Check out this one that I just posted. I'll be blown away if I get a legendary. Oh, card. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'll leave a link down below for you. I've been playing Raid Shadow Legends for over 7 months, hardcore, absolutely in love with this game. And it's not just me. Raid Shadow Legends is literally dominating. When it comes just from the character collection standpoint and theory crafting, really this game has more depth than some of the other games you might be familiar with. Plus, there are so many characters that are being added to this game, a lot of them even free, and we've built such an amazing community over here as well. My first clan filled up so fast, I had to create a second clan. And we also have a Discord server where we all hang out together. We'll be able to help and guide you and have fun throughout the process. Use my link down below, scan my QR code, and I'll be able to hook you up with 2 free epic champions. You'll be getting Rector Draft. She is something I've been using since I first started, and I'm still using her to this day for endgame content. And you'll also get Tyrell for free. And look, I have 8 Tyrell, so that's gotta be great, right? When you start the game, make sure to use the promo code Monkey King, and you will get this amazing attack legendary champion for FREE. All right, people, enough messing around, because we got to mess around with this team that we have back here. Before we get too far into the weeds of what Wrecker's bringing to the team, not just for Bad Batch and Baylan and about the old school Omega, let's go break down the mods for this character. If you're someone that's going all in on this new Bad Batch team, or maybe you're watching this from the future, hello from the future. Hopefully this team is really good. Late night videos are the best, my friend. Here's the infographic we have for Wrecker's mods. One thing we're seeing with this Bad Batch team, they have great base speeds. Again, we're gonna reemphasize some of the things over the past few weeks about what this team's good at. The team's got pretty good base speeds, and we wanna really just capitalize on that. Make this team as fast as possible. Wrecker, not as fast as some of his other companions on the team, but still pretty decent. Able to get him out there as quickly as possible. Making him as durable, tons of protection mods. We wanna make sure this guy is taking lots of turns, dropping nukes on all these fools. So hopefully if you're going all in on this team, this is gonna help you out. But how is Wrecker helping out the new Bad Batch team? I wanna make sure we talk about him. Don't wanna steal too much of the spotlight, although today is a very momentous day, my friends. We are seeing a prophecy finally come true. What Wrecker's bringing to this team is basically the following. He has a pre-taunt, which is nice. The team already goes on their stealth. You know, one thing we already know about the team, they're fast. They got pretty great recovery. They also have the stealth leading to crit avoidance. And Wrecker, he's gonna be able to pre-taunt, keep your team up and running. Tenacity is gonna be a big deal, my friend, for this team. I just wanna say, man, this team's actually kind of doing something. I'm not like in love with it yet, but they're doing something. Beyond that, we also get protection recovery, health recovery when we're getting attacks on a turn on the Bad Batch allies. That's a big deal as well. We also have ways to make sure we're not getting healing immunity in the way because we want to be able to heal. This team is now anti-healing immunity, turning healing immunity into health, protection recovery, getting defense up. This team is going to be very durable, as I'm going to explain to you in a short moment here. Furthermore, we have this interesting little clause. Whenever an enemy gains 50% or more bonus turn meters, so things like Queen Amidala, Dr. Aphra, or just teams that are getting a big turn meter push at the very beginning, we're going to get 15% turn meter. But furthermore, I think the biggest thing I'm starting to notice with this team, Captive, the whole mechanic that Omega's bringing through her unique ability, Omega Fugitive, that is, it's actually something we can recover from now. For the past several weeks, when we get Captive, it's basically, all right, GG's. All right, this team's cooked at this point. But now with the addition of Wrecker, we're able to get people in Captive out more often than not here. With this, whenever another Bad Batch ally is inflicted with Captive, the cooldown of improvised weapon is reset, and Wrecker gains taunt for 2 turns, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. And then while another Bad Batch ally is inflicted with Captive, Wrecker increases max health and protection by 25%. And improvised weapon is really the big kicker here. Now it's got a cool animation. He's literally dropping a nuke on the fools, but kind of like what we predicted. The animation's a bit of a catfish. It makes it seem like it's gonna do big damage, but it's like, at least right now, it's like 5,000 on the crit. It's like, oh, okay. But this is a big deal because when someone's in captivity, you need to quickly stack up target practice. Keep that target practice in mind because it's going to be important after we're done talking about Wrecker here. But it's important because in order to get target practice, the next Bad Batch ally has to hit the enemies that the previous ally hit. So Wrecker is the only one with an AoE right now on this team, minus the old school Bad Batch. He drops the nuke, hits everyone, hopefully pushes a lot of target practice to the team, and you quickly get people out of captivity and you bring them back again. And we're seeing this is kind of a big deal. Wow, keeping your characters around a lot longer. Who would have knew? That right there is going to keep you in the battle a lot longer, starting off fresh, giving a new opportunity to keep moving in the battle. It's also got a pretty nice cleanse on it, which is very helpful because it also converts things like defense down, speed down, tenacity down into the inverse. So speed up, defense up, as well as tenacity up. And with just this right here, we're seeing that this is allowing us to survive a lot longer up against things like the Gungans. Yes, this team at this point, they're kind of hanging in there. And furthermore, every time he's using this ability, he's gonna increase his defense, max health, max protection by 25%. So him being able to quickly reset this and use it, and with the help of Omega, she can keep reducing the cooldowns on Wrecker. He's pretty durable. It's durable, makes things happen. The other abilities here, you know, Colossal Smash, it's not bad. Having the disarm is okay. 50% more damage on enemies with disarm. All right, it's fine. But it has a turn meter push. 30 stacks of Soldier of Fortune or more. He and the weakest Bad Batch ally get 50% turn meter. I want you guys to remember the Soldier of Fortune thing, because this is a big deal. But before we talk about that, quickly summarizing Haymaker, buff the spell on the basic, and let's just say there's gonna be certain lineups where he's like, catch these hands. When he's in a Baylan Skoll lineup, I've had a moment where he hit like 200,000 damage. What? Yeah, so that's a big deal. And before we talk about Baylan Skoll, it's important we talk about the Soldier of Fortune. Now, Baylan Skoll, he's kind of solidified. He's kind of like the Leia Aphra. He's got his core trio. Anything else yet? It's kind of extra added bonus. Wrecker could be a little interesting in this lineup. So the Bad Batch team isn't too mercenary oriented. It's basically him and Hunter. At this point, I think Omega probably should have had the mercenary as well. That's a whole different conversation for a whole different day. But at the start of battle, Wrecker's going to get 1 stack of Soldier Fortune for each relic amplifier level he has. Then whenever a Bad Batch or mercenary ally is critically hit, Wrecker's going to get 3 stacks of Soldier Fortune anytime Wrecker is inflicted with the debuff. And luckily, he's got a lot of tenacity in his kit. He's got that unique ability and more ways to get his tenacity up. He's going to lose 5 stacks of Soldier Fortune. So you want to make sure he's not getting any debuffs on him. Keeping those Soldier Fortune stacks going up, up, and up. Because get this, at the start of their turn, all mercenary allies are going to gain 5% defense stacking and 1% tenacity for each stack of Soldier Fortune. In a Baylan Skoll lineup, you can get quite a lot of stacks of Soldier of Fortune. So let's say you had 100 stacks of Soldier of Fortune, which for record isn't out of the ordinary. You're gonna have, well, 500% defense and 100% tenacity. 500% defense. Do you remember those Datacrons that had like 1,000,000,000% defense and it felt like you were throwing wet Skittles at the opponent? That's what it feels like here. So no joke. Although, yes, we're thinking most in the context of the new Bad Batch team, this is actually not a bad 4th, 5th member inside of a Baylan Skoll lineup. That is a crazy amount of defense. And don't forget, I know we don't want to do a full entire mercenary review right now, but the mercenary, they have a lot of other interesting stuff that they can do with Soldier of Fortune and more ways to get the Soldier of Fortune moving along on the team. Like, for example, Baylan Skoll can double their current stacks of Soldier of Fortune. Also, other ways of getting defense ramping through things like Ransom. And keep in mind as well, Baylan Skoll also has defense ramping mechanisms on his kit for all the stacks of Soldier of Fortune. So when you pair those together, it is a very durable team. And here's where Wrecker can play a little catch these hands type of gameplay. With Shin, her unique ability with Soldier of Fortune. Mercenary allies gain 5% critical chance and critical damage stacking for each stack of Soldier Fortune they have. Wrecker's gonna get a lot of them. From what I've seen in my limited Baylan non-Omicron gameplay, granted there was a Datacron, let's make sure we have full transparency here. We were able to really ramp up Wrecker's damage. I mean, if he has over 100 stacks of Soldier Fortune, which is not hard for us to get, well, that's like 500% critical damage, and you can make it go even higher. So I want to make it very clear that in application, now that we have Wrecker in our hands, showing him with the Baylan Skoll lineup, I actually think he's really shining the most. Although, yes, the Bad Batch it's getting better. We're going to talk about them in a few more seconds here, a few more minutes. Let's be real about that. This actually might be a very solid 5th member to the Bad Batch team, simply because how easy it is for him to get Soldier of Fortune. Furthermore, the massive amount of defense ramping that he has paired with Baylan Skoll's defense ramping of Soldier of Fortune, and then Shin's critical damage boost. This is no joke of a character from what I'm seeing so far in a Baylan Skoll lineup. So very, very cool. I like that we're not putting all the eggs in the Bad Batch basket in case they don't turn out to be all that swell in the future. But now, Wrecker, as much as it pains me, I want to just turn the page just slightly a little bit and talk about the prophecy that has finally come true. And then we're going to talk about the entirety of what we're seeing with the Bad Batch crew at the present moment. That prophecy, wow, I never knew this day would come. Omega V1, the first one of its kind in 2021. For those that don't know, who weren't around, let me just summarize what 2021 looked like for the Bad Batch. When we got our 4th member to the Bad Batch crew, I believe it was Echo, this team was killing it. We were able to four-man tons and tons of teams back in the day. Then when we got the 5th member, Omega, it felt like she wasn't really adding much to the team, minus getting Wrecker the pre-taunt and her, constant, spewing of the assists with the defense up. Beyond that, people oftentimes found Captain Rex better, Shock T better, Commander Cody, a lot of other things more beneficial to Omega. And the biggest thing was we were kind of told this is supposed to be like a big, high single fire damage type of character. And let me tell you, she was not. Why? Well, a variety of reasons that I think we can explain today. Number one, this target practice that's a lot more of a focal point in the new Bad Batch team. Spoiler, wink, wink. She didn't really get too much of target practice. It wasn't really doing much. And furthermore, she needed the leader to take a lot more turns to ramp up her unique ability part of the squad, where anytime the Bad Batch leader's taking a turn, she's getting 5 speed, 2% offense, and it can keep stacking. The problem is Wrecker is not nearly as fast as the new Omega. New Omega is incredibly fast, way more so than the Hunter, which means you're getting a lot more turns. But the thing about this now, with the new Bad Batch team, target practice takes a much bigger focal point in the lineup. Reminder, target practice, you get 5% critical chance and offense and 10% critical damage per stack. Well, here's the deal. With that unique ability, and now seeing that we're making target practice a bit more of a focal point, because remember, during a Bad Batch ally's turn, through learn by watching, whenever a Bad Batch ally damages the same enemy or enemies, that were damaged in that previous Bad Batch allies turn, all Bad Batch allies are going to gain a stack of target practice. So as long as you keep hammering down on the characters successfully, so you kind of focus in on one, boom, 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 keep stacking up that target practice, we're seeing, minus any Omicrons, Datacrons, the old Omega, she is landing hits. It is a big deal. Oftentimes, minus the small damage penalty she gets on assisting, she's able to hit at times 100,000. We've had a record of 300,000, the biggest record that I've seen Omega do in my time with using her. She is truly the damage that this team was missing now. So with the addition of Wrecker, we're using Omega in that fit spot. We're seeing the team finally come together, but I'm gonna say, I want to caveat things a little bit because obviously we're missing out on one more character. There's still something that this team is missing. But even with that, this team, I could say, if you're gonna rock the old school Omega without Omega, there's like no damage on the team. What a weird turn of events. How the turntables, how the turns have tabled. Took me a minute to remember that reference there. Without her, there's no damage in the team. But what we're seeing now with this new era of the Bad Batch crew, we're seeing that they're able to do something. I know it's a low standard, but it's decent good stuff. Like, for example, being able to take down a Darth Malgus lineup. Even at times where I'm like, we're done, we're cooked. I turn around, and within seconds, she's nuking out Revan. She's nuking out Malgus. I'm like, hot dang! Or, what about Great Mothers? Same thing. The Great Mothers were also able to be beat by this. It's great that Wrecker's basically pre-taunting. He's out in the open while everyone's under stealth, so you can contain where the Doomed goes. That's another big deal. I mean, yes, we have a couple of ways to deal with Great Mothers, but now you got another one that's not a Darth Revan, and we know Darth Revan's kind of a hot commodity nowadays, right? So we're seeing we're able to do stuff like that. Also, maybe Commander Luke Skywalker's for that matter, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. These are common teams that you're seeing out there. Now, maybe we're struggling with Queen Amidala's. You might be struggling with General Anakin Skywalker's. But the point goes to show that right now, even with the missing component of Crosshair, parentheses, scarred, we're finally able to do stuff where the past several weeks, it's been kind of a slog. We haven't really been able to do much. But now with the addition of Wrecker, captive makes a lot more sense. We're able to retrieve people that are in captivity. Now we also have Omega in here, landing some hot damage. The question is going to be Crosshair. Hopefully they're saving the best for last. People, I think, I fear that people might have their expectations too high. I'm hoping for it too. I'm not going to lie. But people are hoping for some sort of insta-kill because Hunter right now, Hunter Mercenary, feels to be the weak link on the team. His ability, this will hurt, it is kind of an RNG fest. Well, not so much RNG fest. You just don't know what you're going to get. It feels like this should do amazing damage, and sometimes we can get 200,000 damage. Some other times you get maybe 50,000, maybe 70,000. The problem is it's still too high of a cooldown. Now, again, thanks to Wrecker allowing us to get more target practice and all this other stuff, we're able to get Hunter to get to this ability faster. But still, people are like, well, I can just use Omega with Nihilus and get a turn one insta-kill. So we're still trying to find a reason why you'd want to do this lineup right now. This feels to be the weak link. I'm hoping that Crosshair's going to come in. Maybe he'll bring an insta-kill. I've also been kind of saying this team could also use another AoE ability. Right now, Wrecker's the only one with this new Bad Batch team that has an AoE capability. Maybe Crosshair throws around a bunch of those little pucks or whatever where the blaster goes, bounces around everywhere. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Maybe he ties them all together, shoots them all at once. I don't know. All I'm hoping for is that we are finally seeing this team come together. But I don't know if it's a team at this point, although yes, I had fun with them for the first time today. And that's something you want to do in a video game. Wow, having fun. Isn't that wild? Can we have fun in a game? I didn't know that, but I'm actually having fun with the team for the first time. But I don't think I'm at the point where I'm like, all right, we're in a high stakes Grand Arena situation. I need to make sure I one-shot this or the Grand Arena is done. They're not there yet. Not like the same confidence I have with maybe like a Zori team. Old Man Captain Rex, teams like this, or even Imperial Remnants, I feel like I trust them more than this right here. But that leaves one very, very important thing, minus Crosshair, which could seal the deal. Something we weren't really able to test out, and I've had very limited experience in the last Grand Arenas because, we didn't really have the characters. I did one battle with Omega and her Omicron, this Omicron is starting to feel a lot more powerful. Remember, everything you're seeing here today, largely without datacrons and no Omicrons, and learn by watching could be a big deal. I want to just kind of fast forward to the bottom here. If you read that last clause, they take a bonus turn whenever they are stunned or another ally falls below 100% health. Yeah, that would be very helpful, wouldn't that be? And if you read the whole entire thing, whenever an ally is damaged by an exposed or by an enemy with bonus protection, all enemies receive damage equal to 1% of their max health for each stack of target practice on all allies. And with Wrecker now allowing us more opportunities to get a lot more target practice, and especially little Omega constantly pinging on enemies, this could be a big deal. And this damage can't be evaded and can't defeat enemies. Stealth allies are immune to damage over time and plague. And then enemies they defeat can't be revived. We're not seeing any of that yet. And that bonus turn is gonna be a big deal, allowing you to get it out of captive even faster, shaking off those stuns even faster as well, and getting a bonus turn when you fall below 100% health. That's some Jedi Knight revving crap right there. I mean, that's even better than that, because everyone gets one of those. So that, my friends, is showing us the larger picture for this team. Let me go back to Wrecker, so it doesn't feel like, we kind of ignored him. This video is very much so a Wrecker video, but I don't think Wrecker would mind that we could talk a bit about Omega. I think he'd be proud that Omega finally is going from meme to dream. Who knows? What if Omega stays as the damage dealer on this team and Crosshair Scarred, which would be, I think, best case scenario, goes on the old Bad Batch team? And what if it lifts that up? That would be, I think, the home run hit. If maybe this Bad Batch team we have now, they're all right with what we have, lift up the old Bad Batch team with the Crosshair Scarred. Ooh, that would be great. But I think expectations are Crosshair will end up on this team, and I look forward to seeing what he's gonna bring to us. Remember, this team's not needed for a legendary. It's not needed for any event. CG basically just said, please spend money. We think the team's gonna be good. I don't know if it's there yet, but maybe with Crosshair Scarred, maybe that Omicron on Omega, and of course, those beautiful DC things out there, we might be seeing a wild party here. But don't worry, we'll know in the next 2 weeks what Crosshair is gonna be bringing to this team, and we'll finally be closing up this Bad Batch chapter of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. My friends, thank you so much for stopping by today. Hopefully you enjoyed the prophecy coming true after 4 years. So maybe CG wasn't wrong. We just couldn't see 4 years ahead. Again, this game works in years, not days, not months, years. 4 years is basically 4 days in most other games. Leave that like, comment down below, subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And my friends, I want you to always remember how it's great to be in the Empire today. Oh, it's great to be in the Empire today. The sun never sets.